This year is dedicated to Rachalea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. Today we're going to go into Perek Gimel of Eicha, and here we are. He begins, Yirmiyahu begins, Ani hagever ra'a ani. He says, I'm the man. When he says, I'm the man, that means of all of the prophets, he's the only one who could say, I'm left. I'm the man. There's nobody else to turn to except me. Ra'a ani b'shevet evrato. And I've seen the suffering, the pain of the rod that Hashem cast forth in his anger. So what he's saying isn't just that he's the only one left, but he saw what nobody else saw. The level of destruction that he had to witness is something that no Navi saw with their eyes. In other words, many of the Nevi'im prophesied how things could be, but he's the only one who actually saw it. So I want to point out to you how important this is. Okay, in Matan Torah it says we saw thunder. So the Zohar says about this, what that means is that the voice of Hashem was so vivid that it was as though we saw it, meaning it went from the world of thought and rationality to the world of imagery and emotion. So when it says Ein dome ria l'shmiya, vision isn't like hearing. It doesn't just mean that when you see something it encompasses more figures or colors than hearing does. With hearing you hear a singular voice. But the word hearing is usually used to connotate understanding or logic. People say, I hear you, that means I understand you. Vision, however, moves it to imagery, to actually seeing the event or the person in front of your eyes. So as soon as you have an image, then your emotions are drawn in. It's a very interesting mechanism. So on a deep level, this is what it's meant when it says, Naseh Adam b'tzameinu. Hashem says to the angels, let us make man in our image. So Rashi says, who's this us? And he says, Hashem was talking to the angels. And the point of what this is getting across to us is that we learn from here Hashem's humility, that one who's great should consult with those who are small. So first of all, it gives us a definition of humility, which is inclusion. But besides that, it's saying the nature of the reality that we're meant to observe, what Hashem is presenting in the Torah, is that the great, and in this case it would be logic and rationality, which is the core of our souls, our chachma, it's what binds us to God, it's what empowers us and makes us different than the animals. That great part of who we are has to confer, so to speak, with sight, which has to do with imagery and emotion and physicality. So why am I telling you all of this? So Yirmiyahu was saying, I saw what nobody else saw. Not I knew what nobody else knew. I saw what nobody else saw. So the imagery that sticks with him for the rest of his life is terribly hard to bear. Now he's going to tell us more about this. Okay, I was driven, this means he was expelled, and taken to darkness, below or and not light. So what that means is that as he was driven out of Eretz Yisrael, that he encountered what everybody encountered. He encountered darkness and not light, meaning he couldn't see. Hashem made himself invisible at that moment. So of course the question is, why was Yirmiyahu driven out of Israel together with the others? So the simple answer is he had a choice. He could have stayed or he could have left. Since the Jews were leaving, he went with them. On a deeper level, there's something else. He was to be their voice in exile. They needed him desperately. So he had to be their light, but he had no light because Hester Panim is such that it isn't that somebody who's a limited person can't see Hashem in a difficult situation, but a brighter person, a deeper person would. No. Hester Panim means Hashem erected a wall through which he can't be seen. So when he says choshech v'lo or, he's saying that there were two things. There was choshech, meaning there wasn't just the absence of light, but the presence of darkness. Meaning Hashem, so to speak, erected a wall and empowered the vacuum that resulted in that wall's existence to create a situation in which there was absolutely no hope. Ach bi yashuv, He says, only me, okay, Yashuv Yafoch Yado Kol Hayom, to come back and put his hand against me all of the day. So what does this mean? Okay, so he says, all of the answers the people want had to come from me. So the reason for his suffering, the side that we described was why on his side he would want to be with the Jews. But there is another side, but why should he have to suffer? So this, of course, takes us to the big issues of tzaddik virala. Why should a tzaddik suffer when he's a tzaddik? What's the suffering for? So there are different approaches. So some of the approaches clearly don't fit